Entrepreneurs, business owners, professionals who seek excellence, bringing the business classroom to you. It's the Business Builders Show. Here's Marty Wolff.
We still got a long way to go. Yes, we all got a long way to go.
Welcome to the Business Builders Show with Marty Wolff, the show for entrepreneurs, business owners, and business leaders. I'm Marty Wolff, your host for the Business Builders Show, and along with my executive producer, DC Taylor, we will be your guides on this learning journey. Let me tell you my super objective in being with you today. I want to enthusiastically share stories and information to inspire leaders. That's you, by the way, so you can inspire others. My special guest with me today, and he is in the studio with me, is Joe Battista. Hi, Joe.
Marty, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing great. I'm thrilled that you made the trip up from State College to be with us in the studio. So this is going to be a lot of fun. We are going to be talking about Joe's book, The Power of Pragmatic Passion, 7 Common Sense Principles for Achieving Personal and Professional Success. That was a lot to say in one breath, Joe, but we'll get through all the details, right?
Yeah, a lot of P's in there,
A lot
right?
of P's in there,
So,
yeah. But we'll explain those P's in a minute or two. So let me introduce Joe Battista. Joe is a professional speaker, success coach, and owner of Pragmatic Passion Consulting. Joe has spent his career transforming organizations and teams while counseling professional and collegiate athletes on life skills and career transitions. Joe is a former NHL team executive and 6-time ACHA National Championship hockey coach. He helped secure Penn State's largest gift ever from Terry and Kim Pegula to build the award-winning Pegula Ice Arena. The award-winning Pegula Ice Arena. What a beautiful facility, Joe.
It makes me smile every time I drive by or get a chance to be inside of it. It was quite a project.
I wish we had time to tell that whole story, but we don't. So we're going to keep it down, compact here. So, Joe, on the back of your book, it says, inside this book, you'll discover and learn how to apply. There's 3 things. What pragmatic passion is and why it's needed in today's distracted and disengaged world. Point number 2, 7 common sense principles to lead you on a practical path to achieve personal and professional success. Point number 3, how to use pragmatic passion to live a vibrant life, have a meaningful career, be passionate every day, and contribute to the greater good, and live comfortably with peace of mind. So, title of the book, Power of Pragmatic Passion. Maybe we would start here. What do you mean by pragmatic passion?
Pragmatic passion is using your heart and your head. That's the simplest way to describe it, that when you make big decisions in life, and I'm not talking about what restaurant are we eating at tonight, I'm talking about those career decisions. Are you going to go to college? Are you going to take a gap year? You know, what's your first job going to be? Do you want to live in a city? Do you want to live out in the suburbs? Do you want to live in a rural area? Too many people make the impulsive decisions based only on emotion, only on passion, and they don't take the time to use their head, and that's that pragmatic piece. And the subtitle, my mantra, so to speak, is dream big, keep it real, get it done. And you have to have big dreams, or what's life worth living, right? We all have to have an aspirational goal, and that's the passion part. And most people have dreams. Then you get to the pragmatic part, and that's keep it real, have a plan. You've got to be able to do your research and know what your options are. Last but not least is get it done. And that's having the power of discipline and determination, right? The execution part. And Marty, that's where I find most people fail. And so I'm pretty, worried about what will happen to the people out there who dream big and it just becomes a fantasy because they don't do parts B and C, and that's having a plan that's adaptable and then getting it done, get the execution part.
Joe, I think we've been misled, though, by so many speakers, so many books, so many actually college commencement speeches that say, follow your passion.
Follow your
you
passion.
Disagree with these big-time commencement speakers? Follow your passion. We hear it all the time.
I actually do. I think
you actually do.
Yeah. Sometimes when you tell people to just follow their passions, I say, wait a minute. Let's put a caveat on that, because if your passion is something that you can't get paid for and can't make a living doing, that's called a hobby.
Right, exactly.
Right? And especially what I see those real high touch careers that really require world-class skill. And I'm talking about being an artist, being a professional musician, being a actor or an actress, being a professional athlete. I don't think people understand that you can have all the passion in the world you want for those celebrity careers. You have to have a certain amount of talent to even try to go that route.
Right.
And I'm not trying to bust anybody's dreams. On the contrary, I want people to have dreams that can come true, not fantasies that have no chance of coming true.
Yeah, the word pragmatic resonates in everything you say and do. So your book, The Power of Pragmatic Passion, 7 Common Sense Principles for Achieving Personal and Professional Success, has been out for a little bit of time now, Joe. So what's been the reaction? What are people talking about? What are people posting? Talk to me about that.
I've been thrilled with it. It's done exactly what I'd hoped it would, and it's impacting people's lives. And it's not just any one demographic, although my passion is helping young people and their parents to make better decisions. But what I have found is that the 7 principles really relate to anybody, and I talk about anybody in a transition, life transition. It could be, a high school student trying to decide what they're going to do, somebody in a midlife crisis on their career, or somebody that's retiring and looking what are they doing for their encore career. It really comes back to trying to help them have a process. And so the kinds of feedback I'm getting, one of my former players, Dr. Andrew Strasser, I talk about him in the book, actually. He said, Coach, when I was done reading the book, I felt like I was sitting across from you at one of our player meetings. And I said, well, I can't get any better than that, because for me, I wanted it to be conversational. I wanted it to be commonsensical. I didn't want it to be pedantic, full of formulae and, all these meaningless statistics. And, as a matter of fact, I talk a lot about, that 87.76% of all statistics are made up on the spot. You can make an argument for just about anything, but, and I don't want anybody to misinterpret that. I am a big believer in analytics and in data, but you can go too far with some of that, and it becomes boring, and you lose your audience if it's too pedantic. And so some of the other things, I had a gentleman come up to me after one of my talks about pragmatic passion, and he had this scowl on his face, and I thought he was going to come up and really rip into me. And he said, I really hate motivational speakers. And I didn't know where he was going with this. And then he said, but you had me engaged from the beginning to the end. Well done.
Yeah.
Oh. I was a little worried at first, but I try to make it fun. I did that in the book. I try to make it relatable. A lot of real life 101 stories. I have pragmatic points and passion points throughout the book. A lot of quotes from very successful people, but there's also exercises throughout the book.
I really like that part of it.
I make you do the deep dive,
and
right off the bat, one of the things I say is you got to do 2 things. One is you got to get an accountability partner. Okay, that you're sharing the information with, because if it's just you, sometimes we let ourselves slip a little bit. The other thing is that we do what I refer to as a digital detox. And that gets to the second point that you mentioned, and that's, we're this distracted world. We have to be in the present and put your digital distraction devices away when you're really trying to focus and make big decisions in your life.
You call the accountability partner your pragmatic passion partner, I believe,
yes,
right?
I do.
And so I think that's a very, very important part of it. So my guest is Joe Battista. His book is The Power of Pragmatic Passion, and his website is PowerofPragmaticPassion.com.
Yeah, pretty simple.
Pretty simple. I hope you didn't pay somebody $1,000 or $100,000 marketing dollars for that. PragmaticPassion.com. You're also on Facebook, are you not, Joe?
I am.
How do people find you there?
Coach Joe Battista.
Coach Joe Battista.
Right.
You want to spell your last name? Make sure that people get it right.
You bet. Battista.
All right. Joe is with me. We're talking about his book, The Power of Pragmatic Passion. We gave you the website. You can find him on Facebook, but let's get to the meat of it. What are some of those pragmatic passion principles? Let's talk about them.
You got it. So they spell out the word passion. And I did that on purpose. That was intentional. I wanted people to be able to try to remember what they were, and if you give them a good start, there's a hope that they're going to remember. But the P stands for purpose. It all starts with what matters to you. What do you want out of life? What are your core values? And again, the whole first chapter, to me, is the most important chapter in the book. Because if you don't have that foundation, the rest of it can go off in any different direction. You need that compass, right? You need that North Star. And so that's number one. The A is attitude. And you get to choose your attitude. Don't let anybody else tell you.
That's so important. Say that again.
Don't let anybody else tell you, things. You give permission whether or not you're going to be a miserable person or you're going to come at things with passion and energy and charisma. And common courtesy and mutual respect are a big part of that. And the attitude of gratitude. You got to be able to say thank you to people that have made a difference in your life. And I have an exercise that talks about how to do that intentionally. And without just, running something off. The first S is sacrifice. Now we're getting into the get it done part.
Right.
Okay?
Oh, wait a minute. I got to sacrifice to get this done. Right.
Hard work's hard.
Hard work is hard.
And you know what? You got to do it. And that's what are you willing to do less of, stop doing altogether, or do more of to drive, improvement and success in your life. And it really gets back to good habits and holding yourself accountable again. Looking in the mirror, you're responsible to that person, and that's a big part of this.
Let me pause there for a minute, Joe, because I think so many people just keep adding things on top of things on top of things. And we got 22 principles we got to follow every day. You go out of your mind trying to do all this. I think it's really important to hone in on one of the things you said there. You might have to eliminate something, and that's probably a good thing, right?
Absolutely. You know what? We're in this crazy, hectic, digitally, driven world.
Right.
We're bombarded with information and data, and because of that, sometimes the real purpose gets lost in the weeds. Right?
Yeah, you're so busy being busy that you'll forget what your purpose is. You'll forget why are you really doing this, and setting your own attitude is really important.
And all those things really get back to having a focus, as you said, and sacrifice. That's what that's focus.
Yeah,
and,
really.
And you have to stay true to that purpose. You have to have the right attitude because there's going to be bumps on the road.
What a surprise. There are going to be bumps. Resilience
and perseverance and persistence are, not just, fancy terms. They really matter. And, I don't know too many people that have been successful in life who haven't had to overcome some adversity.
Yep. Let's go to servant leadership. It's the second S.
Yeah.
Servant leadership.
You have to serve before you can lead.
That's maybe challenging to some people to really understand. Let's go a little deeper on that. You have to serve. Say that again.
You must serve before you can lead. Service comes before leadership, and you have to be other-centered. I talk in the book about no matter what your purpose is, it has to be for the good. It cannot be harmful to anybody or anything. You have to start there. And I think a servant leader is somebody that understands it's not about them. It is about making other people better. It's pulling people up with you, maybe having to push them every now and then. We call it carefrontation, right?
Carefrontation, yeah.
And you have to be able to show people that you care. It's a different world, and we have to adapt. And I think as long as at your core you have other people's best interest in mind, you're going to be a better leader. Too many people think leadership is a title. You're the boss. It's more of a management transactional thing. It's not. Leadership to be transformational is all about relationships.
And you don't serve today and gain tomorrow. Right. Would you agree?
Absolutely.
It takes patience. You build this. This is over a period of time, correct?
Yeah. Well, that gets back to delayed gratification.
Right.
I think about, what happens to too many people in this day and age is they, Will Smith has a great quote, people buy things they don't need with money they don't have to impress people they don't even like. Right. And it's all about status, right? I'm the leader, I'm the president, I'm the CEO, well, who cares if you don't take care of your people? Yeah. And I think that's a big part of this. That leadership is not about you. It's about the people that are willing to follow your lead.
And this can be a high school student, a college student, a corporate executive. It can be a grandparent. It can be a parent. Let's make sure we make that point, Joe, right? Because you address these different folks in different levels. This applies to people at all phases of life.
I got a text the other day from a friend of mine that I grew up with that just finished reading the book, and he said, "This was awesome. I wished I'd have read it as a teenager."
Amen.
And, but yet he said in his current, he's my age, said, I learned a lot from it that I'm going to put into use right away.
Let's get to inspiration so we can kind of keep on moving here. So inspiration, talk to me about that.
That's having mentors and coaches in your life. And this is my definition of the difference between those two. A mentor is really somebody that's you've just got this relationship with. It could be a good friend, it could be a relative, a coworker, colleague, something along those lines, a teammate. And they're there for you to be able to, have some deep conversations with, et cetera. A coach is somebody you hire to work on a specific skill. It might be public speaking. Some people say that they'd rather die than give a presentation in public, right? And we don't bat an eye about paying for a coach to work with our kids when they're going to dance lessons and ballet and art and music and soccer, whatever. Why don't we do that same thing with our academic pursuits? Hiring a tutor for somebody that's deficient at math or English, or hire a business coach to help you with your business, or a life
I strongly
coach.
Support hiring business coaches.
I thought you would. I thought you would.
Well, to jump ahead on that a little bit, virtually every executive that I know, virtually every successful athlete has what?
A coach.
A paid coach.
Yes.
It's just so critically important that you have that. So, and that's an interesting difference.
Yes.
The mentor versus the coach.
And at the core of that, you've got to surround yourself with people who are going to challenge you to be better.
Amen.
Another thing I talk about is go where you're celebrated, not where you're tolerated.
Go where you're celebrated instead of tolerated.
Don't get rid of the toxic relationships in your life to the best of your ability.
The O is options. Talk to me about options.
That is developing realistic options and making informed choices. It's really decision making is what it comes down to. But I look at it a little bit differently. It all starts with doing your research, knowing what the options are.
That's where I was going to go.
Right?
Right. So that's kind of, you're building on this whole thing as you go through it, right?
Absolutely you are.
Understanding your options and understanding what you want to accomplish, who you want to become, all those kinds of things, right?
And you go back to, okay, does it align with my purpose? Will I have the right attitude? Am I willing to make the sacrifices?
Sure.
Does it help other people, servant leadership? Will I be able to find a coach or mentor that'll help me to make, develop those options and then make an informed decision? Again, we're talking about big stuff in your life, not, am I going to, have chocolate ice cream or vanilla ice cream? So,
well, sometimes they're big decisions. If your wife wants chocolate and you want vanilla,
but my wife always wants chocolate.
Oh, okay. So that's solved. Okay, let's go to the end, which is nurture. Talk to me about nurture.
Nurture really is helping someone to grow. Okay, and yourself. Because when it's all said and done, if you stay the same, if you stop learning, you're actually going to fall behind. You have to keep pressing forward. The world is changing. You can't stand still. You have to keep giving yourself an opportunity to learn what's new. out there. So it starts with your own education, continuing education, and then it's helping others to grow. And a big part of that is being able to do what we talked about before, carefrontation. Right? Never stop learning. And then ultimately, I talk about doing a you review. And that's you sitting down with your purpose, with your core values, with the goals you've set for yourself, and actually doing a self-evaluation. Because if you can't be honest with that person staring back at you, the old mirror test, right? You're just kidding yourself. You have to be able to do it. You got to get rid of your digital distraction devices, no music, nothing. You got to go to a quiet room where you're not going to be interrupted and give this deep, intentional thought with the tools that we, help you develop. Right. And so that you're making informed decisions.
Make the point, again, I've made it before, is that the roadmap, I'll call it a roadmap, but that's okay. But the exercises are in here. Mm-hmm. You can hear, you can see, you can apply, you can write. And even that one sit down isn't necessarily, it's the first sit down. It's not the only one.
No doubt. You should do it every 3 to 6 months.
You got to keep coming back to that.
And I, we've talked about this before. People say, wow, plans, that's a waste of time. No, it's not. And even though, that great philosopher Mike Tyson once said, everybody's got a plan until you get punched in the nose. Yeah. He's being misquoted. He basically is saying you have to adjust.
Right.
Okay, as things start to develop, but you still have to have a plan.
You got to have a plan to follow, because you'll never be on track if you don't do that.
Right. And then it's something to hold you personally accountable and responsible to yourself.
How do you stay current, Joe? I'll put you on the spot there. How do you learn? What do you do? You read, you listen to podcasts. What do you do?
All the above. When I walk my dog, I am typically listening to a podcast while I'm doing it. I start off every morning listening to my kind of music, pump up music.
Right.
Sometimes it's mellow music. It'll be instrumental music, whatever. But I want to put myself in the right frame of mind to learn. So I have SoundView, which is executive summaries of books, because you don't have there's not unlimited time to do this. But if I read those summaries, it helps me develop a good option and make an informed choice whether I actually want to invest the time to read that book.
Yeah,
but I can, and so that helps. And then obviously I have my own set of mentors, and I have a coach, some guy named Marty.
Oh, I hope he's doing okay. This is going very well. He must be doing okay. So my guest is Joe Battista. His book is The Power of Pragmatic Passion, 7 Common Sense Principles for Achieving Personal and Professional Success. You can find him at pragmaticpassion.com, at Facebook, at Coach Joe Battista. At yes. Coach Joe Battista. You can also find him on LinkedIn under Joe Battista,
yes.
Correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And the book is now on Kindle and on audiobooks.
Thank you
for
reminding me of that.
It is just recently, and some guy with a deep, raspy voice that used to be a coach narrates it.
So there's no excuses. No excuses here.
Hey, it's a great holiday gift idea.
I would agree.
Give one to yourself and all your friends and family members. And again, you said this before. What I find is I get a lot of grandparents and parents get them for teenagers. You got friends giving it to other friends that think they need a little boost. And then you got, people that are retired, that Al Stewart, who helped me with parts of the book, said, Joe, this all, he just retired and said, this is helping me to start figure out what I want to do with the, second half of my life.
Well, you said at the beginning of the interview, that's just about anybody in transition. If you lost your job or you're going through some midlife crisis or whatever you're doing, and you say, hey, there may be something out there that I want to look a little deeper at. This is a great place to start.
Absolutely.
So get Joe's book. So, Joe, we need to wrap up this show. What is it? We talked about so much, and people have to get the book and or the audio book and or their Kindle. What's the main takeaway? What do you want people to remember from our chat today?
That you really need to dream big. You have to keep it real, and then you got to get it done. And you need a roadmap to help you do that in order to live a meaningful, purposeful, fulfilling life. And it's all about, I want you to look back, and at the end of, your days, you're going to be able to say, that was an Academy Award winning life.
Yeah.
That's what we aspire to, right? And people have different meanings for success.
Sure.
That's an exercise that we do in the
Absolutely.
book that you got to figure out. My definition of success might not be the same as yours. And I think it comes back to, we want people to be able to say, I've got peace of mind because I'm living the life that I created, I designed, and I was resilient, and I learned these 7 principles that helped me to make better decisions.
Joe, there's a lot more I want to talk about, so can we schedule time for you to come back?
Absolutely. Always love having an opportunity to talk with you, Marty.
So my guest has been Joe Battista. His book is The Power of Pragmatic Passion. Go to his website, pragmaticpassion.com, to learn more. Thanks so much, Joe, for being part of the show.
You bet. Thank you, Marty.
Thank you so much for listening to the Business Builders Show. To learn more about me, and I'm Marty Wolff, go to MartyWolffBusinessSolutions.com. That's MartyWolffBusinessSolutions.com. To learn more about Kelly Hoey, go to her website, which is jkellyhoey.co. That's jkellyhoey.co. And of course, you can find Kelly and Marty on LinkedIn and Twitter. A reminder, you can find all our Business Builders shows on iTunes, Spotify, and on your favorite podcast app.
Bringing the business classroom to you. It's the Business Builders Show with Marty Wolff.